A very good evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to LiveTalk. We are coming to you live from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington this Monday, August the 15th, 2022. I'm your host, Marvelous Mhlanganyahuye. Tonight, we are looking at the Kenyan election results and the announcement of Deputy President William Ruto as the winner of the closely contested presidential race. Kenya's Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, announced today that Mr. Ruto polled 50.49% ahead of his rival, Mr. Raila Odinga, who polled 48.85% of the vote. Let's listen to the announcement by the IEBC chairman, Wafula Chebukati, captured by Reuters earlier today.
In accordance with the law, the constitution and the law, I, Wafula Chebukati, chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, hereby declares that Ruto William Samoei of ID number 6847208 has been duly elected as the president of the Republic of Kenya under the provisions of Article 138 of the
That there was IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati announcing the winner in a report captured by Reuters. President-elect Ruto also spoke at the IEBC Tallying Center following the announcement of his winner. Let's hear what he had to say in a Reuters report earlier on today.
My gratitude also goes to the people of Kenya, the millions who listened to us, the millions who participated in our campaigns peacefully, the millions who turned up to vote for us on 9th of August, and the millions who have waited patiently until this announcement has been made. Specifically, I want to thank my fellow countrymen and women because we have raised the bar in this election. Jointly, we have raised the bar. This election was much about the issues than the ethnic configurations that have always informed our elections. Gratitude goes to the millions of Kenyans who refused to be boxed into tribal cocoons. I am a very proud Kenyan this evening that the people of Kenya have raised the bar on us who are seeking leadership in our country. Not to sell our ethnicities, but to sell our programs, our manifestos, our agenda, and our plan. Let me also say right at the start that in here and in this election, there are no losers.
That there was a Kenyan President-elect Ruto speaking at the IEBC Tally Center in Nairobi. Nasi muchirongwa tiri kutarisa zviri kubuda kubva kuKenya uko vaWilliam Ruto vakunda vaRaila Odinga musarudzo yemutungamiri wenyika iyi. Sangano reIEBC razivisa kuti vaRuto vawana zvikamu 50.49% zvemavhoti, vaRaila Odinga vakawana 48.85%. vaRuto vataura apo vadomwa semunhu akakunda musarudzo yemutungamiri wenyika, vakati musarudzo yaitwa hapana munhu akakunda. vaRuto vati vanhu vemuKenya ndivo vakunda musarudzo iyi. Prior to the announcement of the results, violence broke out in the IEBC's tallying center. Let's take a look at what happened in this Reuters report earlier on. We were witnessing there what happened earlier on at the tallying center. Justina Mukoko of the Zimbabwe Peace Project was in Kenya under the Zimbabwe Election Support Network and had this to say about what her takeaway is from monitoring the Kenyan elections.
Kuqakathekile ukuthi kube lengxoxo ezenziwayo phakathi kwalaba ababone lokho bekusenzakala lalaba abafanele baqhuba umsebenzi ophathelane lokhetho, ngoba kuthiwa uyafunda komakhelwane sibe sihambe lathi safunda komakhelwane. So kuqakathekile ukuthi ngemva kwalokho kube lengxoxo ezakwenza ukuthi lezi zinto esizifundileyo sibone ukuthi zingasebenza yini lapha kithi eZimbabwe.
That there was Justina Mukoko speaking to Studio 7 after visiting Kenya, where she was part of the monitors of the Kenyan election. Prior to the announcement of the results, many Kenyan residents expressed their frustration at the delay in announcing of the results. Let us hear what they had to say in a Reuters report filed earlier before the results were announced.
This time round is about 1 week. And the results have not get out. So my hope is to tell the IBC to announce the president for our jobs to resume as usual.
In Kenya, when something is taking too long to happen, there's something fishy going on at the background. That is the notion we always have. Yeah. That is the notion. Something taking long, something wrong is happening.
Business is not going on as usual. Can you see people walking as usual? Business is not going on. And people are in fear. Something might happen. And that is not what we don't need that. We want them to tell us what's going on. We move on with our lives.
Other Kenyans had this to say.
I really feel like somebody should come out and tell us where are we at, what to expect. And as I said, I'm worried about Nairobians coming out in big numbers to bomb us, to demand to know the results of their electoral process.
Let us not see a situation where we precipitate instability, chaos, and tension across the country on account of the results. You know what the next step, if you disagree, if you are happy with the results, like I am sure we will be happy with the results, then the process continues to preparing, swearing in for the next president and moving on. Those who are not happy, you go to court, go to Supreme Court, present your evidence.
Those were views of some Kenyans speaking about the delay in announcing the results. That report was done earlier on before the results were announced. Now let's take a short break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. For those that have just joined us, please note that we are streaming live on our Facebook pages, VOA Shona, VOA Studio 7, and VOA Ndebele. We're also live on YouTube at VOA Zimbabwe. And now for political perspective, we are joined by our guest, Dr. Masimba Mavaza of ZANU-PF, and also Tawanda Jokora of Citizens Coalition for Change. Regaindi tange kunava Tawanda Jokora nchiti trukuona zvabuda zviri kubva kuNairobi kuKenya. Trukuona vaRuto ndo vari kunzi vawanikwa vachikunda uyezve vaOdinga parizvino hatisati tanzwa hedu kubva kwavari, asi munoona sei zviri kubuda pane zvanga zviri kuitika kuKenya izvi?
Veras makadi muri yeZimbabwe yakateerera regai nditange nekukurukotedza Ruto William vave president elect veKenya ndokurukotedzawo zvakare vana veKenya vakaenda kunoregister novhota neuwandu vakanomirira pamapolling stations vachigadzira kudefenda vhoti yavo. Kana vana veKenya vachifara nezvaitika kuKenya, kana nesuwo tinofara nekuti kuvhota kunoitirwa vanhu. Asi kana vanhu vachigunun'una, vanhu vachipenga kuti zvakadai zvaitirwei, isuwo tobva tatokatyamara. Asi pandiri kuona iko zvino, ndiri kuona kunge vanhu veKenya vari kufara. Tinovatenda nekuvhota murunyararo.
Toenda kuna Dr. Masimba Mavaza veZANU-PF. Imi munoona sei zviri kubuda kubva kuKenya izvi?
Zviri kubva kuKenya zvine kakukatyamadza kakati kuti. Chekutanga ndechekuti tinoda kurokotedza vaRuto. Tinongoratidza kuti bato riri kutonga rinongoramba richitonga nekuti rinenge raita zvinodiwa nevanhu. Varatidza kuti vanopikisa vangangotaura havo nekutaurisa, asi zvinogona kuvanetsa kuti vanhu vavavotere. Saka chidzidzo chikuru kumapato anopikisa kunyika dzakasiyana siyana. Asi chiri kushamisa kana kuti chiri kutyisa ndechekuti pane vanotungamirira zvesarudzo kana vatingati electoral committee muKenya vanenge vari 7. A7 ipapo pane vana 4 varamba kuti maresults aya haasiriwo, haasi chokwadi. 3 ndo vaanaunsa. Saka pane vabvumirana nemaresults ava i3, meaning kuti the chairperson nevamwe 2, vice chairperson nevamwe 3 varamba vakadai hazvisiri izvo. Saka chiri kungoti shamisei ndechekuti kana vachinge vashandisa democratic vote pakuverengwa kwemavhoti kwavo paannouncement yavo, it means the 3 ava ndo vari kuminority, which means kuti vachakodzera bongozozo risingaperi muKenya. nekuti izvozvo ezvispiki vanhu vachapanga kutemana nemakano nematombo nekupisirana dzimba vachikabirirwa. Saka zvaita vanhu kana kuti sangano ravo rinovirira sarudzo hazvina kunyanya kunaka, zvatokonzera bvonga mupopo tobongozozo munyika yeKenya. Saka idambudziko guru riripo rekuti zvakafanana nekuti dai kuri kuZimbabwe ZEC chairperson ati vamunangagwa vahwina vice vachobva aiwa havana kuhwina handibhirana nazvo, zvinokonzera kusawirirana pakati peruzhinji. Saka I think paneka maturity neunity mukati mebato rinoongorora nezvesarudzo munyika yeKenya. Saka eziya nawo asingi mazuva mana ari kuteera aya mazuva anokosha zvikuru anova nechekuita nerunyararo mukati menyika yeKenya. Saka kungonamatira kuti mazuva ari kuteera aya akapfuura zvakanaka then Kenya inenge yayambuka rwizi rwezibhakera. Asi mazuva iwaya akatanga kurwisana tinenge taakuona dambudziko ra2008-9 rakabheta dongozo nekuona nekwanhu vakawanda mukati meKenya sarudzo isafamba zvakanaka.
But Dr. Mavaza, we saw President-elect Ruto calling for peace, and he said nobody has lost this vote. It's the Kenyans that have won. Do you think this will calm the temperature of those that may feel that things didn't go their way? Are we likely to see any people going to court? What's your take on what we're seeing?
From whatever his maiden statement could be, it's like any other politician. He would have to urge for peace. He would have to ask for it. But the reality of the matter is he has not taken a step to deal with the source of the trouble. He was supposed to have called his friend Raila Odinga. He was supposed to engage into discussions with him privately and publicly to show that both of them up there, they are united. But the fact of making announcements or statements away from your source of trouble does not resolve the issue. So I think it would have been better for him to say, you welcome my brother Odinga to come with me to discuss this issue. We accept what has been said by the committee, and I accept that I've won. But however, I'll work together with Odinga to see a peaceful way in Kenya. But he hasn't done that. He simply said the Kenyans have won. There's a Kenyan who's crying. His name is Odinga. He said, I have not won. And he's not taking it lightly. So there was supposed to be a more robust way of enhancing and encompassing the opposition in these results. It's simply not by just making a statement, but by taking a step into their strongholds, talk to them, urge the Kenyan people to be peaceful, and tell them that even Odinga will have a position in the government, or will have a space or a place in the hearts of the Kenyans. So to urge for peace, not simply to say you have won, but I'm going to start my government. So in short, it does not go any far what it said. It's to be seen what will happen. As I've said, that the first 4 days from today are very critical for Kenya's peace and tranquility. Without any form of a robust uniting sentiment, which will make the supporters know that the leaders are together, there will be disobedience, there will be disruption, and there will be civil war, or violence, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Let me now go to Mr. Tawanda Jokora of the Citizens Coalition for Change. Mr. Raila Odinga's party was likened by a lot, especially on social media, to your own party, saying that whatever the outcome of this election in Kenya might actually see it spilling over to Zimbabwe. What are your sentiments right now? How are things within your party?
We are Democrats. We support Democrats. Where Democrats would have prevailed, we will go with what the people of Kenya would have decided. And commenting on what Dr. Mavaza was saying, Kenya has a history of sobriety. They have a history of decency. They've shown Africa how to come together and how to resolve issues peacefully. You know what happened in the last election when then President Uhuru and Mr. Odinga did the famous handshake. And they agreed. Havana kungogara kungomuka vahuru vakuti chinhu chedu ndobva vamhanya nacho. Vakagara pasi navaodhinga vakawirirana zvavakawirirana, Kenya ikatanga kusimukira. Saka ndiri kuona zvimwe chete zvichiitika patave ipo pano. I know the Kenyans are going to sit down and resolve their issues peacefully. And the fact that we have a split in the Electoral Commission shows that there is democracy in freedom of speech, in Kenya. It's actually a good thing. And the good thing that we are going to see in the next few days is that the independence in the Kenyan judiciary. I have confidence in the judiciary system of Kenya. It's not captured. They will preside over the electoral disputes and come up with a way to continue to move Kenya forward. And I hope Zimbabwean politicians will take a leaf from what is going on in Kenya and also what happened in the previous election, that the opposition party and the ruling party can sit down and resolve their issues, for the furtherance of peace and progress in their own country. And I also hope Zimbabweans in general will learn something from the voters in Kenya. They turned out en masse to register. They turned out en masse to vote. A person, a citizen, must honor their responsibility. They don't need to be bribed. They don't need to be forced to go and register to vote. It's our responsibility. And I sincerely believe that every Zimbabwean, do their responsibility and go and register to vote and vote for a party that will change their lives, that will ensure that there is medicine in the hospitals, schools are far and giving quality education, roads are modern and like any other in our region. We'll see a lot of change in Zimbabwe, and I have faith in the people of Zimbabwe that come 2023 they are going to vote for a party that will change their lives, and that party, Triple C, led by Advocate Nelson Chamisa.
Regai ndidzoke kwamuri Dr. Mavaza kuti pane zvamungati Zimbabwe ingadzidza here pane zvatiri kuona zviri kuitika kuKenya panyaya yekubata sarudzo.
Chekutanga Zimbabwe tingangoti vana veZimbabwe vachadzidza kuti bato riri kutonga haringosiyiwa zvekumhanya. Saka taona zviri kuitika kuKenya kuti kunyange mutungamiriri webato ranga riri kutonga anga asarudza kuti amhanye nebato riri kupikisa, vati vana venyika varamba vakati aiwa bato riri kutonga harina charakanganisa. Saka Zimbabwe yadzidza pane izvozvo. Chepiri, Zimbabwe inofanira kudzidzawo kuti mukati mesarudzo mune kusawirirana. Tikatarisa zvaitika mukati meKenya, inonzi Electoral Commission yekuKenya sekutara varamboita ine vanhu vanokwana kuita vanomwe. Mutungamiriri wayo anonzi Wafula Chibukati asimuka nevanhu vatatu achitaura zvake zvaataurawo. Anomutedzera Juliana Cherera asimukawo nevanhu vana akataura zvake zvaanotaurawo. Saka ndinoreva apa ndezvekuti chatiri kudzidza ndechekuti ZEC inova iyo yakafanana neElectoral Commission yeKenya, ZEC inofanira kudzidza kuti aiwa kana muchiverenga mavhoti hamusi kutaura opinion yenyu kuti amunofunga kuti awina ndiani, uri kungotaura zvabuda musarudzo. Saka apa zvinoratidza kuti muKenya vataura zvavanofungira kuti ndeawina, havana kuverenga sarudzo yavo nekuti vari kupikisana namba mafigures haanyebe, toti nechirungu figures do not lie. Saka kana vachinge vaverenga vakaona kuti Ruto awina, handione chikonzero kuti vamwe 4 vangati hazvisiri zvaverengwa. Saka tiri toda kuti tinofanira kudzidza kubatana, ZEC idzidze kubatana, idzidze maverengero kuitira kuti isazokonzera mvonga mupopoto kana kuti kusawirirana.
Asi ipapo Vamavaza vanhu vazhinji vanogarawo shora ZEC vachiti ZEC inowanikwa iyo ichitsigirana nebato riri kutonga, haisi inoona yoita zvinhu zvayo pasina kudivi yayakarerekera sezvatiri kuona zviri kunzi zviri kuitika muKenya. Mungati ipapo?
Vanhu vazhinji veZimbabwe vanoimba neZEC. vashoma shoma nhubu naradada dzetriple C ndo vanenge vachiti zeki yatengwa nehurumende. Zeki ibato rakazvimiririra, harisi bato but musangano wakazvimiririra kana kuti chiumbwa takaumbwa neconstitution of Zimbabwe vanotonga pamusoro pesarudzo. Saka havana munhu wavanosapota, havana munhu wavanoratidza kuwirirana naye, vanongotaura zvabuda musarudzo. Zeki ibato risina kwadakarerekera. Saka ndipandikura ndezvokuti vanhu vangangotaurawo sizvekuti kamukinya varuza vakutaura kuti aiwa tabirirwa. Munhu wese anenge akundwa anongofunga kuti ndabirirwa. Asi zeki haina paino munhu wainoti uyu ndiwo atinoda kuti awine. Inongotaura zvabuda musarudzo zvasarudzwa nevanhu. Saka kutaura kwevanhu vanenge vachitaura nekuti nyika ino panosarudzwa kune vamwe vanovhotera opposition ko vanovhoterawo the incumbent. Saka mukaona saizvozvo vavhotera opposition vanenge vasiri vashoma vakawanda, asi havana kuwanda kupfuura vahwina. Saka kana varusa.
Let me cut you off there so that I can just get Mr. Tawanda Jokora, because time is not on our side. If you can also take me, tell us what is your takeaway from what we're seeing happening in Kenya?
We are seeing an electoral commission, that does not favor any political party, as opposed to what we see in Zimbabwe. ZEC is almost like an extension of ZANU-PF. Right now, they are supposed to be doing voter education. They deliberately never do voter education because they don't want a lot of people to turn out and register and vote, because they know that it will be very difficult for them to rig an election in favor of ZANU-PF if many people turn out. Why don't they do what the Kenyans were doing? The Kenyan Electoral Commission even went outside Kenya and gave voter education to the people in the diaspora, which means the people in the diaspora for Kenya were actually voting. It was exciting to see people in the US, in UK voting. Why can't ZEC allow the same thing to happen to Zimbabweans? And why is the Zimbabwean government actually refuse the Zimbabweans outside the country, to exercise their democratic and constitutional right to vote? We need the diaspora vote, and we'll continue to demand the diaspora vote. That's why we are meeting from the 23, 24, 25th of September. We'll be at the United Nations, where Emerson Mnangagwa will be telling the world that a man that is calling himself a Democrat is not a Democrat. He is disenfranchising over 5 million Zimbabweans that are in the diaspora. We need our diaspora vote. He promised it when he was in New York, and up to now, nothing has been done about that.
Oh, thank you so much. We were actually expecting also to have Mr. Denmoyo on the show, but unfortunately, I think time is not on our side. But let me give Dr. Mavaza just a short, if you can just give us, your take, the last bit to just close us off.
Thank you so much. Just want to say, in conclusion, Zimbabwe is not Kenya. We cannot emulate the Kenyans voting of the diaspora out of Kenya to vote for Kenya. That is the Kenyan way. Zimbabwean way, Zimbabwean constitution, and of now, we do not have a diaspora vote. So if you are in diaspora and you want your party to win, please register to vote. Go home and vote during the 2023 elections. You are allowed to go home and vote.
Thank you.
Vote while you are away.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jokora. Your last 10 seconds.
Yes, I want to encourage all Zimbabweans that are in North America and even in UK and other countries to come to the United Nations on the 23rd, 24th, 25th. We'll be protesting, and the theme for this year is diaspora vote or electoral reforms.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of our show. We'd like to thank our valued guests and, of course, you, our viewers and our followers. Let's meet again tomorrow, but remember, our radio news shows are on 7 days a week. I'm Marvelous Mhlanga Nyahuye in Washington saying have a very good night.